Hey, what's up, everybody? So, coming to you today with the boxing schedule for February. We got some really good action coming up in the month of February. Just want to run through the schedule real quick. Be prepared for some jammed ass Saturdays because all the fights are taking place. All the fights we're talking about are taking place on Saturdays. Nothing on February 6th, but every weekend after that, the 3 weekends after that, there's fights. So, again, if you guys like my videos, like my channel, please hit the like button. If you don't like it, hit the thumbs down. If there's anything you guys would like to see, any questions you want to make, leave a comment. Subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. So, let's jump into the schedule for the month of February for boxing and what you can see. Again, I'm just going to briefly touch on the fights, not going to get full into detail. You can wait for that until I do my weekly preview on each one, but let's jump in. So on the 13th, again, there's nothing going on February 6th or anything that week, and the next big weekend is going to be February 13th. So there's actually 3 cards on that day. The first one is going to be on DAZN from the United Kingdom. And on the undercard, you got the co-feature's a decent one. You got, I think his name's Zelfa Barrett. Only one loss. I believe he's 24-1 at 130 pounds. He's taking on former 122-pound champion Kiko Martinez. Now, normally this wouldn't be a fight if it was alone by itself that I'd say was worth watching. But considering it's an undercard fight, not a bad one. We're going to see if Barrett, I've seen his name thrown around here and there. You're going to see if he's, ready to take a, step towards the next level. And Kiko Martinez was always a tough fighter. He's a champion years ago, but he's still banging around trying to, stay active. So, I want to see if Barrett is good enough to take himself to the next level. Also in the main event, though, Josh Warrington, the undefeated former featherweight champion. He just recently gave up his belt. He's taking on, I believe the guy's name is Mauricio Lara. He's taking this guy on just to stay busy kind of fight, as Warrington possibly could have a title shot against Shu Kan of China or Gary Russell of the United States. So one or the other. He's taking this fight to shake off some rust. So that's earlier in the day from the United Kingdom on DAZN. Not a big card, but definitely worth watching. Josh Warrington, I still have him ranked number 2 at featherweight. Also on the 13th, on ESPN, you got a really good card. 4 fights we're talking about. You got, I think his name is Jerry Anderson, undefeated heavyweight, knockout artist. He's staying busy taking on some guy named Ibe. Then also a featherweight Chuck Fest is what I want to call it. You're going to have Adam Lopez against Jason Sanchez, 2 former world title challengers. They're featherweights. It could be a fight taking place at 130. But these guys throw a lot of punches and are there to bang. They both fought Oscar Valdez for the world title. Both came up short by knockout, I believe, on both of them. I think actually Sanchez might have went the distance. But yeah, both have come up short, but both guys that like to trade. They like to fight. So it should be a decent matchup on the undercard right there. But the co-feature is going to be good. Lightweight battle between Richard Comey and Jackson Marinez. Comey's returning finally. I believe it's going to end up being a 14-month layoff since his knockout loss to Teofimo Lopez when he lost the lightweight title. Taking on Jackson Marinez, who, got a decision victory over, or actually suffered a controversial decision loss to Rolando Romero in his last fight. So, 2 guys trying to shake off losses and prove who's, and take the next step forward at the 135-pound lightweight division. So should be good. And then the main event, vacant light heavyweight title on the line, the WBO belt, as you're going to see Joe Smith Jr. take on Maxim Vlasov. This is a big fight for Joe Smith. He one of the fighters of the year in 2020. Great, fantastic year that guy had. He is trying to leave no doubt that he is a world title, world champion. He suffered a loss a couple years ago, now trying to He had 2 great wins at 175 in 2020, and now wants to claim his first world title. Maxim Vlasov, though, a good, solid veteran, also wanting to claim his first world title. This is going to be a good one. So that's the 13th, also on ESPN. And then the biggest card that day is taking place on DAZN. Now, the third fight on the card is not 100% yet. Actually, the bottom 2. You got a middleweight fight between Jason Quigley, who's trying to make a name for himself, and Shane Mosley Jr. So, these are guys way down, but, Quigley's only got 1 loss. You got Mosley's son. Interesting middleweight battle if you want to check it out. Then you got a good one at super bantamweight, could possibly fall to featherweight. And that sees 2 former world title challengers going at it when Ronnie Rios takes on Oscar Negret. This one's a good one. Both these guys have fought Ray Vargas for the super bantamweight title and lost decisions. Not bad fighters at all. Rios trying to stay in line for a world title shot following that. He was ordered to fight Brandon Figueroa, and nothing has ever come from that. So I'm hoping he still gets a chance to get in there, but he's just trying to shake off some rust. He hasn't fought since November of 2019, and Negret, trying to get himself back into the title mix. So that's a good fight on the undercard right there, if it still happens. The co-feature is going to be badass, though. You got Patrick Teixeira, the WBO champion at 154 pounds. He's making his mandatory world title shot against Brian Castano, the undefeated former secondary world champion and the number 1 contender for the WBO. This is a good fight right here. Teixeira trying to leave no doubt that he is the legitimate world champion at 154, as he's fighting for his first time since he won the interim belt back in November of 2019. He's taking on Castano, who, in 2019, he took on Arizlandi Lara and almost beat him, but he hasn't. They fought to a draw. He hasn't fought since November of that year, and neither guy has fought since November of 2019. So, gonna be interesting. It's a great matchup, and that's just a co-feature. That's gonna be good. The main event, though, you got Joseph Diaz Jr. defending his 130-pound title, the IBF belt, when he takes on his undefeated mandatory number 1 contender, Shavkat Rakhimov. This dude is good. Rakhimov's a good, solid Russian that comes straight forward, and Diaz is a very good boxer. Diaz hasn't fought since the end of January of last year. Rakhimov hasn't fought since September of 2019. So, good matchup right here. I can't wait to see it. That's all on DAZN on February 13th. Now we jump a week later to the 20th, where we got a couple cards on that day as well. First on ESPN. I think this one has the best matchup of the day. Well, the co-feature is going to see undefeated, rising prospect Gabriel Flores Jr., 130-pounder. He was supposed to fight Andrew Cancio. Cancio had to pull out of the fight, so they're still trying to get Flores a matchup. So just waiting on that one. The main event, though, is going to be good on ESPN. Going to be very good. Miguel Berchelt, the reigning WBC super featherweight champion at 130 pounds. He takes on the undefeated former featherweight champion of the world, Oscar Valdez. This is truly Valdez's biggest fight to this point, and it could very well be Berchelt's as well. Big time matchup right here as these guys look to cement their name. Berchelt's been champion since 2017. He's been champion for 4 years now. He's trying to still let everybody know why he's sitting at the very top of the division with Gervonta Davis. And Oscar Valdez trying to become a 2-division world champ. So good matchup right there on the 20th, the main event on ESPN. And then Showtime also has an interesting card. 3 good fights worth talking about. The undercard, former lightweight champion Robert Easter Jr. takes on Ryan Martin, also from the United States, in a junior welterweight fight. That's 140. Now, Ryan Martin fought in the World Boxing Super Series against Josh Taylor. Not a complete pushover. Robert Easter, a good former champ at 135. So looking forward to that one. That's a 140-pound battle right there. Definitely looking forward to that. Easter, by the time that fight happens, he's going to be close to, I think he might be close. No, he hasn't fought since October of 2019, you know, and you got against Martin. Then we have a heavyweight fight on the co-feature. You got Otto Wallen, who fought Tyson Fury in 2019, came up short by a decision. He's taking on former two-time world title challenger Dominic Breazeale. This is a good matchup right here. Two pretty much top 15, top 20 heavyweights that are trying to climb themselves back into the mix to possibly get in there and face somebody decent. So, good matchup right here. I really like the matchup. The heavyweights are always good. Very interested in this one. And then the main event, you see the return of former 4-division world champion Adrian Broner. He takes on some guy named, it might be Javier Santiago or something else. The guy's undefeated, but he's a nobody. Broner, you know, just trying to get back and get a win under his belt. He'll fight in the main event of Showtime that night, so that should be interesting. Now we're going to jump ahead, guys, to the last weekend of the month. 3 cards taking place on the 27th of February to close out the month. First, on DAZN, I just have the main event to talk about right now, and that's a heavyweight showdown between former WBO champion Joseph Parker as he takes on undefeated Junior Fa. This is a big-time New Zealand rivalry matchup right here. These two guys been trying to get in the ring since last year. They finally get to do that on February 27th on DAZN. Haven't heard anything about the undercard as of yet. It's still early. Right now, undercards have not, unless it's a huge card, they have not been, the undercards like a month out have not been shored up. They're just being talked about because of COVID. COVID is really pushing, still kind of making a dent into the sport, so it's kind of hard to lock in a full-on undercard with all the precautions and everything we got to take. Okay, also that day on ESPN, you're going to have Jamel Herring defending his 130-pound title, WBO belt, against Carl Frampton. This is a very good matchup right here. Two guys trying to prove their top 5 at 130. Herring, 35. I think Frampton's 33 or 34. Good matchup right here. Frampton, former 2-division world champ. Herring, been champ a couple years now, trying to leave no doubt and work himself into a bigger fight. The winner has a showdown, has to make a mandatory defense against Shakur Stevenson, the former featherweight champion. So, should be very, very good fight right there. Really looking forward to that one on the 27th on ESPN. But then the main event, or should I say the main card of that night and of the whole month. On DAZN, you're going to have 3 fights as of now we're talking about. First, on the undercard, you got Zhang, the heavyweight, undefeated heavyweight sensation, Xiang Zhang, I think his name is, from China. He's taking on veteran, I think, Jerry Forrest. He's still trying to, introduce himself, work his way up as Zhang. So he's fighting on the undercard. It should be good on DAZN. The co-feature, Julio Cesar Martinez against McWilliams Arroyo. This is a 112-pound title fight. Now, I know I don't really follow the little guys too much, but I know Martinez is a stud, and he's a very solid world champion. And I know McWilliams Arroyo is a very durable world title challenger. This is going to be a good fight as the co-feature. But the main event sees the pound-for-pound king, the return of Canelo Alvarez after just over 2 months off since he dominated Callum Smith. He's going to make a mandatory defense of his WBC and WBA world titles when he takes on WBC #1 contender Avni Yildirim of Turkey. This is a big fight right here for Canelo because Canelo's trying to map out the rest of his year. He needs to get his mandatory out of the way, and Yildirim likes to throw, he likes to punch, so going to be interesting. That's February 27th on DAZN. So every day, the 13th, every Saturday except for February 6th, you have multiple fight cards on. That means on those days, it's going to be busy weekends. You want to make sure you're checking them out. It should be good. I'm looking forward to it. All right, guys, that's the February boxing schedule. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, hit the like button, hit the thumbs down, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it, and I really appreciate you guys. All right, guys, that's it. True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.